15 Horde tips and tricks to help you beat Gears of War 4 Feral Horde. Stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Chris with Blind Man's Bluff Gaming. Welcome back, and man, I hope you're doing awesome. If you're new to the channel, are you looking for Gears of War 4 Horde tips and tricks videos? Then go ahead and smash that subscribe button. You can find guides for every Horde class, including Engineer and Scout. Now these Gears of War 4 Horde tips and tricks are for any Horde game, but are especially important for Horde variants like Gears of War 4 Feral Horde, where your margin of error is smaller. Do these things right and it's going to seem easy. Do them wrong and you're going to be in the suck.
You smell something?
Fried pussycat.
Team composition. I recommend having an experienced level 7 or higher scout and engineer with level 5 skills. Feral Horde is definitely not the place you want to be training in a new scout or engineer. Scout build. Skill number 1, deposit bonus level 5. Now this is an absolute must for any Horde game playing scout at any time, because it increases your deposit bonus by 50% whether you're picking up power in combat or after. If you're looking for an in-depth guide on different scout builds and how to play a scout, check out the annotation on screen right now. Skill number 2, health boost. Skill number 3, shotgun damage. Now this is important, especially because we're on clock tower. You're going to find yourself having to go on the bottom to go around to pick up the power on the other side, so you're going to have to do some combat as a scout. Skill number 4, pick up radius. Skill number 5, health regeneration boost. Engineer build. Skill number 1, repair boost level 5. Again, this is an absolute must for any Horde game, especially Feral Horde, because it not only helps you repair your fortifications faster, but it uses 50% less power when you're doing it. Skill number 2, barrier health or general fortification health. Your barriers are going to take an absolute pounding in Feral Horde from explosive trackers, drop shots, and salvos getting launched at you and your team. Now in a little bit I'm going to share with you a little strategy I like to use that effectively doubles my barrier's health. But first, your next skill is going to be turret discount, then sentry discount, and your final skill is going to be sentry capacity. And your 5th skill is going to be sentry capacity. Now with all the scions and guardians, your sentries will be shooting constantly and they'll need to. Having sentry capacity will allow them to keep shooting and give you some margin on your repair circuit. The rest of the team composition. Feral Horde is a salvo buffet, so heavies are preferred unless you have a soldier with Hammer of Dawn. Heavy build to take advantage of the salvos. Your first skill is going to be heavy weapon damage. Your second skill is going to be explosive launcher damage, which also affects the salvo. Your third skill is going to be explosive launcher capacity, which again also affects the salvo. Your fourth skill is going to be turret damage, and your 5th skill is going to be mark damage. Now note, the mortar strike does work on both the snatcher and carrier, but can be inconsistent, which if you ever use it you know what I mean. But if you are using it, make sure to mark the boss to get that extra damage. Now if you have the option, definitely running a soldier with Hammer of Dawn is preferred. You also might want to consider having one of your team members running Team Revive. Base location. On Clock Tower, go up the stairs and set up your fabricator at the top. Place it in the middle, right in front of the building. This location is an ideal place because they only have 2 lanes to attack you from, and you have high walls on either side to protect you from guardians. Now note, a guardian still will occasionally sneak in through the center window, and I've seen an occasional drop shot come over the wall and kill a teammate. My buddy Sergeant 257 knows all about that.
Like a midget at a urinal, I was going to have to stay on my toes.
Base building tips. Tip 1. If you don't have barrier health, build them in an X pattern, which effectively doubles their strength. The last thing you want to happen in Gears of War 4 Feral Horde is to have your barriers go down. Tip number 2. You can build sentries on the side steps and on the middle platform. Now experiment with their placement to find their best spots. Tip 3. Build a shock sentry on each side to slow down the rush. Not only will it slow down the rush, but they will also help take down the shields of the Guardians quicker. Now I find placing one right at the top steps on each side worked really well. Tip 4. If someone goes down and you're picking them up, call it out so you don't have 2 or 3 people rushing to pick up one person instead of shooting. Now here's a tip if you play in public. Generally, most people aren't talking, so if you play public, you know what I'm talking about. So what I do, instead of rushing to pick someone up, is I'll wait a few seconds, check my TACCOM just to see if someone else is doing it so we don't get overrun. Tips for preparing for the boss wave. Tip 1. Make sure to build a few weapon lockers and have your team storing up salvos for the boss wave. The bosses in Feral Horde are extra beefy, so they're going to just take a ton of damage. Tip 2. Build a decoy for each side. In most cases, it will completely stop the Snatcher and Carrier, which is the perfect time to call in your Hammer of Dawn or Mortar Strike. Tip number 3. Save up power for at least one strike. Now if I'm playing Engineer, I generally don't buy anything on Wave 9 and just repair. Tip number 4. If you are using Mortar Strike and you have Mark Damage equipped, make sure to mark the boss to get the extra damage. Tip number 5. Combine your firepower. When the Snatcher or Carrier commits to one side, call it out. All players but one should move over to the boss's side and unload salvos and turret fire. Now if you are running a strike, that player should go to the Fabricator instead at the beginning of the wave and wait for his teammates to tell him when the boss is still so he can call in a strike. If you are looking to stay up to date with the latest Gears of War 4 Horde tips and tricks videos, then go ahead and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Until the next time guys, this is Chris. Have an awesome one.